Hello and welcome back to another OmniHeroes video. In this video we're just going to go through 8-star Aphrodite. Is it worth it to get her up to that 8-star mark? So let's find out today. To get her up to the 8-star mark also allows her to become part of the Monarch synergy. So not only is she Celestial, Royal and Avenger, but also part of the Monarch synergy too, which is in my opinion, it is the most powerful synergy, primarily because you can't be one-shot in PvP, and that's that's pretty much about it. So what else does she gain? She also gains this, so she deals 486 magic damage to backline enemies, and that is an increase on the previous that we've seen as well. If you were to get her further up, it'd go up to 194% for a follow-up, and then if you were to get to 11 and 12 stars respectively, every increase in dodge increases attack as well. So as you can see down here at the bottom, every 1% increase in dodge additionally increases attack by 1%. So do I think she is worth getting to 8 stars? And the answer is yes. I do believe that she is very much worth getting to 8 stars. And the reason for that is primarily the Monarch synergy. Now, let's jump into a team build, which I've been working on for her, which is made up of primarily Avengers, specifically these three. So you've got Mavis, Albert, and Aphrodite. And what you want to do, you don't want to add in Janna. The reason for that is Janna will summon in this extra slot. Now, there are tactics whereby you want something in this extra slot, but I found it's a bit more of a hindrance if you want to focus on Aphrodite. And again, the reason for that is because if there is something in that 6th slot there, then Aphrodite's passive will not kick in, so she won't be able to steal one of the enemy units. Now, the others that I've gone for, searched for Monarch, and then I searched for Shadow Arc. Unfortunately, we've got two very powerful additions here in Halissa and Sandra. Now, Halissa with her epic runes, so let's just jump in. With her epic runes, when deploying 2 Monarch synergy mates, Halissa and Monarch synergy mates increase max HP by 200%. And then when deploying 3 Monarch synergy mates, Halissa increases synergy mates HP by 300%. So we want Halissa in the team, and we also want Sandra in the team for the Shadow Arc synergy. So if you discount Aphrodite, discount Albert, you take those two out, this is still relatively powerful Shadow Arc's team. We do get increased dodge, I believe. So yeah, increases dodge rate of all allies by 15%, which isn't anything to sniff at, to be honest. What we're going to do is we're going to pop our relics in. So we'll go with Spear. We will go with... What you can do for extra survivability is add in Blades of Chaos, but in this instance we're going to go with the Orb here, and the reason for that is the debuff. When an ally unit on either side dies, it increases max HP by 10%. Absolutely fine. Stacks up to 6 times, so we get an increase of 60%. And also, it removes debuffs, I believe. Bear with me. Ah, no, it doesn't. Maybe it was a different one I'm thinking of. Anyway, we'll jump into this, and then here we go. So Aphrodite's kit is effectively based on removing debuffs from ourselves. So if we have a look at what this does, when activated, she removes all debuffs from all allies, and every 1 stack of debuff removed increases her attack by 10% up to 100 stacks. So we can get up to 1,000 stacks if we go up against teams which like to debuff, like Glorians, like the Mystifier's team. Very good counters against those teams. So let's jump in and let's see how she does in this one. Again, it's a team I've been playing around with, but it was able to beat teams which were sort of 1,000 million power level above where I was with this particular team. Now, I do have a lot of these units at 15 stars. I don't have Sandra, Mavis, and Halissa actually at 15, but I do have all of their exclusive runes, which is why I'm able to run this team in PvP. So we do get the buff from Halissa there with the attack increases. So we'll see Sandra kick off here. And like I said, running somebody in this slot or running a unit in that slot can be quite detrimental. However, Aphrodite does cover it, so if you get her up to 7 stars, you are able to ultimate every time a unit on the battlefield dies as well, so just something to keep in mind there. But again, if we'd have triggered that the first time, we wouldn't have had need of the second time to trigger, if that makes sense. So we would have already had Masterma, and there would have been no need to trigger her ultimate a second time. Again, it's a bit counterintuitive to you do want units in this particular slot here, but the problem with it is having a unit in this slot blocks Aphrodite from doing what she needs to do. So as you can see, we're up to round 4 here, and Masterma has gone back. We will see, so Sandra again producing that token will not allow us to steal an enemy unit. Again, it's just why potentially you don't want to run a unit in that slot. Now again, when that summon dies, which is more than likely is going to, you do get the chance to steal another unit because she does trigger on death of any unit, and that includes any summons that are brought to the field as well. Now this team doesn't do the most damage, but what it does rely on is enemies attacking this 6 slot here. So whenever a unit dies, we should be able to trigger the ultimate, and she's doing a fair bit of damage as well. I think that's primarily due to the seasonal buffs. So the seasonal buffs that you get is like an additional 70% attack, defense, and HP. I think that is the reason that she's doing so much damage currently in non-PvP content. So it is something to keep in mind. But again, I can't justify people spending money on this unit. I know she looks very impressive right now, but I just can't justify players spending on her when Cleo is right round the corner. What I mean by that, let me just jump into Oath. We've got a message from the producer. That'll be another time. Ooh, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Is this the right one? We'll find out. No, it'll be this one then. Here we go. So Cleo is right round the corner. She'll be coming back on the 4th of October. Seems a very long time away, but it'll give you a chance to save up enough diamonds to get a copy of her at 60,000 diamonds, I believe you need. But I would urge everybody to save up for Cleo, just because she's so required. Especially at 8 stars. You do want her at 8 stars. Now back to the showcase. Now as you can see, that team was relatively coherent. We do have the additional 15% dodge, which I think saved us multiple times in that previous matchup, and we do have the 3 monarchs. We have the 5 monarch synergy here as well. Another team that I have been toying around with, it seems a bit weird, but I have been toying around with Aphrodite on the Valiant's team, and let me just show you why. So we'll get our 3 monarch synergy here, and then you can add in Atropos just for that additional damage, but we do have 4 Valianters and 3 monarchs. What you can do as well, and it's something that I have been looking at, but haven't really explored too much in depth, is Leandra. Now let me show you what I mean by Leandra. So we'll pop in our artifacts, our relics. It's pretty standard, and I think I'm going to change Victoria for Macaria down here. So why do I think it's a good idea to run Leandra and to run Aphrodite? Well, Leandra will sacrifice her summoned token. So you'll see the summoned token here, it will pop off, or Leandra will pop off because the summoned token has arrived, and as well she sacrifices, and then that will trigger Aphrodite. So Aphrodite in this case, has stolen Atropos, which is going to be quite good for us, especially if we get into the next round with Atropos, because we should get the added bonus here, or we should get the added bonus of the Atropos triggering, but we'll just have to see. So we get Element Taunt, and then we get Aphrodite to trigger. Now she doesn't receive the bonus, or the Assail bonus, that you will see most Valianters using. Because she does magic damage, she does not do physical damage, so it is something to keep in mind. She does work well in this particular lineup because of the Monarch synergy, and we're able to do that because she's currently at 8 stars. If she's not at 8 stars, this tactic does not work anywhere near as well, because it is primarily the Monarch synergy that you're looking for. So again, something to keep in mind here. Now, she will not trigger if we execute an enemy as well. So the Valianters, I think up to that 30% mark, will trigger the executability. But I do not think that Aphrodite will trigger from that. So just something to keep in mind. Now I think we can go ahead and skip this because, you know, I don't suspect that Atropos by herself will be able to single-handedly take us down. So we do get that that trigger, Aphrodite doing the most damage despite being on a full Valianters team, despite having less damage output than the others on this team because of the physical assail damage. Another team that I have been running her on is actually Mystfire Monarchs, so including Sandra in this. This team for me, it's a very powerful team, and I think can be run, especially now with the 5 Monarchs. You do get the 2 Celestials on the same team, so you get the increased, or you do get the shield capacity for those 2 as well. So it is another team that you can run her on. She is, with that Monarch synergy, she is very versatile indeed. Another I'll show you this team in a second, but the Glorian Monarch team, she fits in very well in there as well, because you do have the 3 Celestials within that team, the 2 Verdians with Lee and Lily and Leah as well. And so Sandra will trigger first, as you can see, filling that slot up. Again, a bit of a nombo with Aphrodite, I've found, but can be good for longevity. So we'll take a, so as you can see here, Aphrodite triggers, but we don't get to steal an enemy, unfortunately, just because that slot is filled. Fortunately, we do have a loon there to sort of remove our problem, but really you should try and avoid that problem at all costs in the first place. Potentially on the Avengers team that you saw, you can replace Sandra with Selene. Selene is very good in a Monarch synergy, especially if you've got his exclusive runes. His exclusive runes allow him, when he heals any sort of damage, converts 20% of that into attack. He won't get one shot basically, and it allows him to heal all that damage back up. So very powerful addition to that team. You can also take out Halissa on that team, and you can replace it with Persephone, and you would put Aphrodite and Selene in the front row, just so they take the damage, and also then you'll have the survivability or the increased survivability, as well as Selene will build up very quickly on that one. So the sort of damage that we're looking at, not exceptionally high outside of an Avengers team, is what it is. But you know, I think we've seen what we need to see from this team. It's a decent team and doesn't tend to die very quickly, specifically because of that Monarch synergy, which is what you want to build around with Aphrodite, because you want Aphrodite to survive for as long as possible, so she can steal as many of the enemy team as possible as well. So the final team like I mentioned before, would be this team here, and you've got Audrey, Lee, Talinas, Lily and Leah, and Aphrodite. You've got the 3 Celestials. You have 5 Monarchs on the team, and you also have Lee and Lily and Leah with the Verdian synergy as well, so it can be very powerful. And a very protected team as well, with thanks to the with thanks to the relics that you do have in place. So again, Aphrodite, very, very versatile with that Monarch synergy. And works very well in this team because of the Celestial triggers as well. So Lee doing massive amounts of damage already, but it's because every time he attacks, or every time he is attacked, he now builds up attack and defense. If I had his red runes, he would also build up HP, so just something to keep in mind there. Again, no summoners on this team, so we steal Atropos right away. And Lee puts in the work. He does a lot of damage, and because we've built up our attack stacks, these guys will be stunned now for 2 rounds, I believe. So yeah, we're in the next round now. And she is building up faster than Audrey, or outputting more damage than Audrey would. She won't do that for the entire duration of the match. Audrey will outpace her eventually. Just something else to note as well. Now, I have got Audrey's runes on Aphrodite here. So I do have unique exclusive runes. So in this instance, Audrey's going to be putting out less damage because of the runes that we have in place for her. So just something to keep in mind. Yep, and we get 2 finished off, and then Aphrodite here to finish off Helios, and we've still got Atropos left, but I don't suspect that'll take too much longer. Yeah, she's popping off, so every time a unit dies she will activate her ultimate, which is why she's doing so much damage there. And then Lee to finish things off with a cool 12,000 million attack. So yeah, those are the teams that I've been running her on. Again, you can run her on a traditional Avengers team, something like this. There's so many triggers that go off. Nerissa's, Aphrodite's. It's a bit mental, to be honest. But we can have a look at this team. It's a very, very slow team. But again, it is one of the teams you can run her on. She does have the Monarch synergy with Mavis here, so we won't be able to get one shot. Mavis won't be able to get one shot, and Aphrodite won't be able to get one shot. We do fill this space up very quickly though, so unless enemies are taking this one down, or this stranger down here, then we're not going to see Aphrodite's triggers go off altogether too often, or at least we're not going to see her steal an enemy unit altogether too often. So we do get marked, and then this one dies, which will trigger Aphrodite, but also will trigger Nerissa on this team. It is a very long and arduous process though, with this team. It just takes them, 20 years to do anything, really. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead, we can skip this one. I don't intend to stick around. But let me know what your thoughts are on Aphrodite. Do you think she's a good addition to the meta? Do you think that she's broken the meta in any way? Or do you think she's just right? Do you think she's just balanced? It'd be really handy to know from everyone down below in the comments. If you can like and subscribe to the channel. I am a couple of, I think about 20 or 30 people off, 500 subs, but the goal is 1,000 subs after all. So yeah, if you can, please do go ahead and click subscribe down below. Be really appreciated, and thank you very much for watching. You have a great day.